Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
When you decide to step up to this kind of power, this kind of challenge, this kind of flying, crashing feeling, when you decide to get serious, there's only one place to come, the games of Super Nintendo. No one else creates this kind of experience, because no one else creates these kinds of games. Now you're playing with power, superpower.
All right, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's easy. I love them both, but I'm Mortal Kombat all day, Steve. You can't rip a guy's spine out of his back in Street Fighter, you know?
Flawless victory.
I guess that's where I'm at. I need violence and blood. I need mayhem.
My guy. Some gore. It's the 90s. I mean, Street Fighter was cool. It served its purpose.
I'll whoop your ass in Street Fighter. I mean, all day. Give me Guile. I don't even take one of the gimme guys like Ken or Ryu. I will annihilate you with Guile. I don't care what version. The moves are always the same.
All you do, I bet I know your fucking shtick. All you do is sit in that corner and shock and spark and shit. I know that's all you do.
I'm offensive.
And do the backflip. You probably do the little backflip and then back to your corner.
This is bullshit. I'm going right at you. I'm sonic booming you right off the gate. You're not expecting it. You're expecting me to come in high, maybe jump kick you. Then I'm coming in. I'm waiting for the action, Steve. Maybe I'm not going into the corner, but it's called strategery, Steve. Look it up.
Guile trash anyways, bro. I'm gonna keep
Man, fuck you, Steve. You gonna tell Jean-Claude that?
That version is dope. That version dope, man. But in the video game, he a hoe.
Bullshit. Well, who are you going with?
He'll get folded.
Is that it?
Nah, I'll go with the gimmies, the Ken and the Ryu. Don't even matter, cuz.
All right.
Don't even matter.
Shit. I'll take you out. I mean, I can't really clock anyone that's a weakness. I don't like M. Bison or Balrog, but I'll take Balrog, Steve. I'll fucking punch you through a wall, bro.
With the Flow Rider hairline? Yeah.
Shit. Looking good. I mean, he had the racing stripes, Steve, and he had the Michael Strahan gap tooth. You don't remember that. And I feel like was he wearing fucking jorts also? Wasn't he wearing like jean shorts?
Some Daisy Dukes, man. You gonna pick the dude in Daisy Dukes?
Hey, dude. I'm saying, but if you put a gun to my head, it's got to be Mortal Kombat, especially back then. When it was like Street Fighter 2 Turbo or Mortal Kombat 2, give me that Mortal Kombat 2 all day, every day.
And plus, there's so many different versions.
That's true. I mean, we were just blessed in the night. We had all, and there's all those, remember those weird ones like Primal Fury and stuff where you were like a giant ape and there was dinosaurs in it? That one?
Vaguely.
There was another one.
I feel like they're a casualty.
Remember Claymation, or there was Clay something too? Clay Fighters?
Man, I have to Google that one.
Digging deep. I'm telling you, that one was dope too. There's a bunch. There's a one called I saw on a Genesis video, Eternal something, that I remember having on Genesis. It was crazy. It was like futuristic. It was like people all throughout time. It had fatality elements to it, which was dope. Yeah. Eternal Champions, that was the name of it. But good question. I mean, clearly you're a Mortal Kombat guy, right?
Oh, definitely, man. I need the fatalities, the babalities, the friendship.
Yeah. I'd like to catch people off guard with like the level fatalities. You know, that was like the only thing other than the main ones in the first game. Then we get to 2 and they're throwing the whole book at you. They gave us like triple the characters.
I used to be cold with Melina.
Hell yeah.
Melina was the shit. Katana was cool. I mean, it was like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, but I was more leaning towards Melina.
I'm trying to think who my go-to Mortal Kombat guy was back in the day. I mean,
Liu Kang.
basically, yeah, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Sub-Zero. I always, because that's kind of the Ryu character. You even get like the Hadouken and shit like that. Remember the shitty when they tried to offshoot and did like a Sub-Zero game that was like a platform game? Do you remember that?
See, that's when the franchises start losing me, man. That's when you start getting Freddy versus Jason. That's when you start getting the college years. Just like, yeah, and we're gonna get into that because that's a thing that has been annoying me. And I usually pull for those kinds of things, those kinds of projects. But like ultimately, it's like, Steve, you're playing yourself. This is complete shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Shit.
Well, that game is an example of that. That game was hot trash.
You're pulling for it though, because of what it is, what it represents.
It's like when you got those movie games sometimes. I mean, most of the time they were shit. There was those Batman games that were for like Genesis, like Batman Returns and stuff that were decent.
It was mid.
Cool.
It was mid. The Spider-Man though went super hard. You remember that for Sega Genesis?
Yeah, Maximum Carnage, dude. Hell yeah.
Before that, because Maximum Carnage, that was with Venom, right?
Well, the red one. The one with the knife hands and shit.
I'm thinking early 90s Spider-Man. I can't call the full name to it, man, but this is like early, like in the birth stages of Sega.
Yeah. And the X-Men game. I mean, we're going deep now. We're just going off track. But those X-Men games, they had those dialed in. I remember even the first one, when you could just like, I remember getting that and you could make fucking Wolverine's claws go in and out. And just the function of that, it did nothing. It was just like there to look cool. Awesome.
It was next level though. Yeah.
And then that second one though, X-Men 2, whatever it was, I had that for Genesis. Great game. I'm pretty sure even Gambit was in that. It looked dope. And if you're and I know you don't like the band, but I'm pretty sure they used Power Man 5000 song as like a 8-bit render in that game, or a 16-bit song. And I always appreciated that, Steve. So there's that.
Man, got a Steve G original for you, Matt. I hope this doesn't sound bad or come across to whatever cancelish. But so back in college, I tried to date this Native American girl. But her father had his reservations.
Hey-o. Yes. I like
well,
that.
Hey, boys. Thank you,
it.
sir.
Don't start yet. Get your propers. I like that. All right, that's enough.
Young Bobby Engels has a problem. He needs to earn the respect of his peers. So he gets Sega Genesis, the ultimate action system. And then he buys Mortal Kombat, the arcade edition, and the all-new Shinobi 3, and Marvel's X-Men. Now, things are pretty much okay.
I said chocolate chip. Say it. Say it.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Matt G with Happened in the 90s, the show where we talk about what happened in the 90s. So get out your Ace Ventura tapes and your Jesse Ventura do-rags and do it. Do it. Everybody, do the Urkel dance.
Where's that sample? We need that. Somebody needs to sample that, make an actual song out of it. We got the capability now, Steve.
Oh man, that DJ would get all the wet drawers sent that way, like fucking free throw.
Get that dance going too. Bring it back.
The magnitude of that dance, I tell you, man.
Just the level of creative. Who's bringing a dance to a sitcom also? I get making an iconic character. You're thinking of a fucking dance too, Steve?
That
I mean,
They
dude,
gave him a cereal.
The Office did it. I mean, they had to go decades. That we got the Scarn in the early aughts, which I appreciate, but it's no Urkel, Steve.
They gave that man a cereal for a reason, Matt.
Goddamn right.
Today, my friend, we're talking about all things February 8th in the 90s. Starting off in 1990, American professional basketball player Klay Thompson is born. 7. Never forget. Oh, man.
Wow.
That 19, man. It's still making its rounds. But yeah, future Hall of Famer. He's still in the game. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I love seeing this mantling up like right now with this franchise. Yes, you got your turn. Those days are behind us. But hey, happy birthday anyway, Klay Thompson.
Didn't this motherfucker put up like a shit ton of points in a game though? Like, didn't he have one of those games?
I believe he set the record for most points in a quarter. He went crazy, just like step backs, catch and shoots. But Kevin Love broke that not too long after that. And at the time, he played for those Cleveland Cavaliers, I do believe. Yeah.
Salute. Kevin Love. But hey, Klay Thompson, he did what he did, Steve. He'll beat us in horse.
But all you need is love. Love. Back in 1991, Family Matters is airing Life of the Party. Steve Urkel gets drunk and falls off the roof at Maxine's party when the uninvited Willie adds liquor to Steve's punch.
Put some liquor in there, Willie.
This episode, the best, Jerry. The best, Matt. This episode, my favorite. The best.
I mean, like I said, the 90s was like, whatever the medication, if it was cocaine, whatever it was that these writers were working on, it was producing, Steve. We're not getting this level of creativity anymore. So shout out to Family Matters and shout out to whoever the choreographer was because they nailed it, Steve.
Man, A++++.
God damn.
I'm sure the awards academies and all of that disagree because I don't think this show was ever nominated for anything. Like as I got older, like a lot of my favorite shows, I realized like, man, y'all never got nominated for shit. Fresh Prince, Martin.
Did you see that thing where they had the Martin cast that's still available?
Yeah.
I think it was the Emmys.
Yeah. And I was like, this is the first time y'all even acknowledged them. It's great. I like it. But when it was live,
they even got the joke about it too, Steve. I mean, they told a joke about not getting nominated, which sucks, but that's crazy. Fuck was on that Martin didn't win for the episode with the fucking Walkman? You didn't fucking not a nail, not a Steve.
Fucking
Bought
the CD player. It was all that. That's classic television. They were busy giving awards to Murphy Brown, shit like that. But anyways, we start this episode off with the Winslows. They're in the living room and they're debating where to go for their family vacation. Harriet wants to hit up New York. Rachel, she's talking about going to the beach and something about catching some Z's and breeze and hugging a man around his knees. The girls, they're talking about going to Disney World down in Florida. And Mother Winslow, she wants to go to Graceland. I don't know, too many older black people, even growing up, that gave a fuck about Elvis. And then Carl, he wants to go to Lake Geneva.
Yeah, I mean,
but
he's the guy. My thing is, Steve, where is this discussion? What is the point of it? It'd be like, we're going where I want to go because I'm paying for
okay, Jackie Gleason. One of these days, Alice.
Well, I mean, he's got good. The logic's there, Steve. It's close, so him being the driver doesn't have to just sit eating Cheetos all day and sit in traffic. It's cheap. It's right there. And it's a lake, Steve. I mean, you can get up to some shenanigans at a lake. You can get something's going to happen there.
Got to wait for the kids to go to sleep. But he's adamant. We're going to Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. Now that fancy smancy shit, we can catch some good fish, at least edible if you season it right. And we can go play in the pool on the shallow end because I can't trust that water good enough. Yeah. And we can have some decent cabins. They might have some creatures that stir in the night, but hey, a cabin is a cabin. God damn it! Cue that classic theme song.
And then, Steve, after the credits, we're back at the house. And Maxine, Laura's friends in the crib, and they're trying to figure out the guest list for an upcoming party Maxine's throwing for her birthday. I mean, she's getting a caterer, Steve. I know it's pretty close on Rachel's right there, but hiring a caterer for a party, as a high schooler, I guess.
As a high schooler, did you go to these fancy parties in Perrysburg? I know, like, some of these families had bread. I never attended to where they had a party planner.
I mean, maybe a graduation party, but I mean, everybody's kind of. I mean, I had Hooters wings, if you call that catering. I mean, shit. But nothing like, they're not like a Sweet 16, like a MTV shit. Hell no. Master P's there, fucking everybody's there, hiring music, catering. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Typically, from what I recall, the parents were kind of hands off when it came to these kinds of functions. Aunt Rachel, go get a man. I think that's where that comes from. Like, my aunt is doing the party, like, shit.
She's got a kid, Steve. I mean, damn, she got to earn,
right? Yeah, man, because she's gonna make a killing. She can keep those fucking Christmas presents underneath the tree for Richie with this Maxine attic party.
But here's the thing, Steve. Before we even figure out what's on the menu, they got to figure out who's coming. So Maxine's all about the flex. She wants all the cool kids hanging out, but she wants to fill it up too. So even a guy of the name Harvey Garvey could show up. And Harvey, other than just having a really awful name for a high school kid, thankfully he's not fat, because that sounds like a fat name. Dude has the yuckiest of yuck mouths I've ever damn seen. Steve, this guy had meth mouth, and I don't even think he's touched a pipe in his life. It's crazy.
Meth, not even once.
Jesus, get this guy a dentist, because good God. We don't see him yet, but we will. You'll know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, and now we're at the party, and it's a decent party for a high school roof party. Maybe you should put that.
That's cool. To me, that sounds pretty fucking cool, honestly. I mean, I'm not a cool person, Steve, at least back then, but you throw me on a roof, couple of pops in me, I mean, shit, I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Shit, and you're in like downtown, looks like Chicago. You might see Horace Grant or somebody, man. Well, shit, yeah. Bill Cartwright. Yeah, but just saying. But yeah, man.
She's right there. He's right there. His English ass is hanging out. Maybe he's with the yuck mouth guy. He's from Britain. They all got.
So maybe you should add this to your LinkedIn, Aunt Rachel. By the way, this show has been brought to you by Aunt Rachel's Party Planning. And so now we're at the party, and Laura in her defense attorney outfit comes into the scene, and she's just like a meanie dwarf, like, oh, we don't need to drink.
Yeah, she's the downer. If I see a guy popping a couple of bottles into the punch, which that's what happened. I mean, we didn't say who, but Willie and Waldo show up, and we know Willie, if you remember from a couple weeks ago, Urkel put the screws to this dude in the boxing match, Steve. He got bullied, stood up to the bully, and he put it to Willie, Steve.
That's very lenient towards the nerd side, but we did watch the same episode. I was putting the screws to him, but hey,
he got his, Steve, because Willie's here and he's feeling a little spicy, Steve. We find out he's got some fucking hurt feelings from that, because Urkel did humiliate him. He didn't beat him up, but he made everybody at the high school think a little less of Willie, Steve.
But right now, that's not even on his agenda just yet. He's just here to get faded. He's gonna be here for a good time, not a long time. And he's got his backup bro, his sidekick of a Robin of a side character, Waldo Faldo.
The motherfucker, if nothing else, this guy would be a party legend in a high school doing this, because he comes like just loaded to the gills with airplane bottles of liquor, Steve. His dad's a flight attendant. This dude comes in like a guy hawking bad watches in Times Square, but he's loaded to the gills with Seagram. He's got it all, Steve.
Well, apparently his father is a stewardess. And I don't know, that might get you canceled saying that you got to be selective about your work.
He's a flight attendant, Steve. Get it right.
Flight attendant.
Okay? Jesus.
Oh, he's sick. That's his daddy.
But stick in the mud, Laura sees all this happen because basically, I love how, I mean, it's not nonchalant. They're just out in the open. Willie brings the liquor, and then they get like a good crowd of about 50% of the party just like, ooh, what's going on over here? It's like a circle of like people waiting for a fucking feeding frenzy on this shit.
Laura doesn't know how to party. That's how, like, you know, everybody comes. That's what you want from your guests, even if they fucking crash the party. Like, you know, I'm bringing you the venue. Hey, if you want to bring the chips, that's cool. We can all dibble and dabble in some Frito-Lays. Shit, you want to bring in some of the greenery? Okay, we can roll up some of your shit because I got the venue. You got the vibrations? Oh shit, let's do that. With the libations and the vibration.
But I will say, Laura's dad, he is a cop, so there's got to be a little bit of that sitting there. But I mean, look at the roles, Steve. You know, no, come on, Laura, stop fucking her up because you're always pissing us off. The least you could do is take a little sippy sip and unwind a little bit. You're a little tense, girl.
Some people just whack and they just that's their fate, man. But you know, he's threatening. Because Laura's being all like party cop and shit, like, hey, you guys are drinking, you guys need to leave. Like, bitch, this ain't even a party. He's like, well, if I leave, I'm bringing all my fucking doofus fellas with me.
The bros. I mean, how many of the guys are going to leave, though? Because I see a lot of nerdy white, like Hardy Boy looking dudes in the background. I feel like they're still trying to get in the mix on some puss, Steve. I don't know, Willie. I don't know, Waldo. Waldo, I feel like might have a learning disability if I meet him. I'd be like, I ain't hanging out with that guy. Walk us into a river or some shit.
And one of those dudes looks old as hell. He looks like he's on his way to child support court.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
like
there's a couple of guys walking around that look like they should be hanging out with Rachel and none of these kids because we need to call the cop. We need to call Carl Winslow right now. We got some crimes happening here.
Should I hang out with Rachel? But you know. Laura's being a stick in the mud, and she's just like, I don't need to drink to have a good time. And then she proceeds to not have a good time. In the very next scene, she's just, I hate that kind of person. It's just like, ugh.
This is what weed's for, Steve, because I didn't like drinking in college or in high school that much. But when you got the weed, you're still you're in the mix, man. Maybe you're not flowing like everybody else, but you can at least party. And Laura, she's fucking up the vibe. Maxine's not happy about it. And she's like, come on, what the fuck's going on here? You know, the world hasn't ended. Nothing terrible's happened. Have a good time. You ain't got to drink. And as soon as she says that, some terrible walks in by the name of Steve Urkel, Steve. But terrible, I shouldn't even said that. I was just trying to make a joke. This guy, Steve Urkel, party starter.
Yeah, you're painting the frame of that early 90s ironic statement when somebody says, oh, this could be the worst thing ever that happened in my life. And then like the so-called bad, I love that because that's like, you can make a compilation of Steve Urkel segments like that. Oh man, I'm having the worst time ever, blah, blah, blah. I would just want to kill myself and, did I do that?
I mean, he's here, Steve. He's there and he sees the shit, the schism, you know, he sees the problem here and he knows what he has to do. Get a little of that rhythm up in them suspenders, Steve.
And rhythm and a spine because he walks up to Willie Fuffner with the shits. It's like, yeah, we just fought a couple months ago, but shit, hey, I see you. I need to address this right now. Let's get this out the way. So what's going on with you? Oh, you got some little jokes? Okay, you dumbass motherfucker. Shit, still, I got the whole school hating on you though. All right, so there's that. Y'all over here circle jerking. How about we dance? Nah, man, we rather just, pour some fucking alcohol in people's punch.
I need to Cosby a couple more people. You go and do your due diligence. And Steve sees that and he goes, you know what? I do got the perfect dance. An MC, it ain't an MC Hammer dance either. This the motherfucking Urkel dance, Steve.
Like, dude, so many questions. Like, on the spot, everybody knew what to do. The DJ knew what to play. He's on the fucking, he's money. As Vince Vaughn would say, you're money.
And he don't even know it, but he does, Steve, because basically it's a vibe. That's all it is. He throws some vibrations out there and he makes everybody just in unison. This might be the Thriller dance, Steve, but it's the Urkel dance. I can't tell. The shit's there.
Hitch up your pants. Like, everybody knew what to do.
I mean, the fact this guy isn't, I get he's a nerd and whatnot, but pulling an Urkel dance and like full fucking choreography, joint, like community choreography, impromptu, you're not swimming in PJ after this?
Dude, even substitute teacher costume guy behind me, like, he knew what to do. Like, everybody is just on the fucking money.
I mean, but that's because the dance is that solid, you know. Even the words, like I can't remember them all, but he's even got fucking a nice little flow to go with this.
I swear, the kids just won't understand, Matt. Like, did you see this in real time? Because this is a moment I'll never forget.
I mean, I'm sure I did, because for like the whatever this generation of TGIF, every Friday night was go to grandma's, everybody hangs out, and I hang out and watch this. And then I recite line for line the Urkel lines to my mom and everybody in the room so I could get that, so I could get a little pop, Steve. I'm sure I did the Urkel dance at the time, but you know, that rhythm's gone. I'm 40 now, you know? It's gone.
Yeah, and then like, so Willie, after this, he wants to make a truce. So it seems. He's like, you know what, man? You live. You got the juice now, Urk, man. You lit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come have a drink with your boy on me. You know what I'm saying? You that dude. Come on, man. Drink it up. Yeah. And then moments later, Urkel is thrown. He's just making like he is the joke. They're back to laughing at him per usual.
I mean, he is belligerent. I don't know how many cups of this shit he had or how many of those bottles went into this, but one, shame on you, Rachel. You telling me you gonna get thirsty and just at least have a sip of it to taste that it's goddamn a Long Island iced tea at this point? I mean, damn.
Hey, she just do the planning. She just does the planning.
She's just putting the pigs on the blanket out there. She's going downstairs to make a call or so. You know, she's got to do something. But Urkel's throwed. He's pointing out planes. He's talking to the wind, Steve. And he's pulling a fucking, at one point, I mean, he gets so fucking into it that he pulls a Jenny from Forrest Gump and just starts just walking a tightrope on the edge of a building. I don't know what floor they're on, but they're on the roof, Steve. So, goddamn.
He just started walking the ledge. And
take this kid to BG. This kid would have been dead within a month.
This dude is just all over the place, man. And, he's spilling drink on Willie. He's talking to the crowd, talking about, goddamn, what's the capital of Jupiter? I don't even know. Shit. Laura, she's cool. Whatever.
Show me your tits. He's out there. But then Rachel comes out and, don't just scream at the kid because he's wasted. But she's like, Steve, get the fuck off of the ledge, basically. Steve loses it. Steve. He goes all, I keep saying Steve. I'm saying Steve way too much because I'm crazy right now. But Urkel, he goes over the edge, my man. But thank God this guy must do pull-ups or something because he catches, he does a Spider-Man. He does like Ninja Warrior shit and by the fingertips just gets himself on, I guess, like a 20-foot ledge below. But Jesus, he's hanging in there, Steve. He's cliffhangering it right now.
Hey, man. He's like MacGyver, man. He's very on the spot, man. Great presence of mind he has. But yeah, man, he's on the ledge. And all of a sudden, unbeknownst to anyone, even Rachel, she tests out her tightroping skills. And
hell no. Sorry, Steve. That would be my thing. I'd be like, I'm on the ledge. Give me 10 minutes to sheepishly try to like get over to you. This bitch tightrope walks. I mean, what the fuck, Steve? What was that? Was that a clothesline? Because I don't know. I mean, that's a full-grown woman, you know?
Yeah, and this was the opportunity for the actor, or the actress, I can't call her name at the moment. But she was testing out her skills in real life because she was a part of that Circus of the Stars. I don't know if you remember, that was an annual
Oh,
thing. And
shit.
she was one of the people where she'd do a tightrope thing, and like that was a opportunity to like showcase her skills, her talents.
Damn.
That was a
Well,
part
Rachel, that's cool. I mean, salute for you to be able to do that, but I just don't respect tightrope walking because you're crazy. We don't need to do that. Life's too short. But she does it, Steve. She makes it beyond all hope. Even Urkel's like, you know how to do that? And she says no, but she does it, Steve.
She's got to keep presents for Uncle Little Richie, man. Like shit, this is for the sake of this show. If he drives, that 7 seasons gone.
That's what she's like, we need
shit,
you.
I gotta learn.
Oh
yeah, I don't know this shit, but I gotta know this shit. Shit, I gotta eat. Shit, this is our franchise.
But I will say, she makes it across. Salute. But maybe don't step on the fingers of the guy who's holding on by his fingertips. You know, she steps right on dude, and he's like, ah! But this woman, tightrope walker, caterer, and possibly female bodybuilder, because she one-armed pulls Steve Urkel up onto the ledge, saves kid's life, Steve.
And in the next scene, the cops basically bust Willie and Waldo. You can't have a cohort like that and not get caught up in the game. But, he was just like, hey, man, it was just for fun. That's what Willie says. And Laura, being the preachy type, fun? Steve could have got killed.
And basically to just make the cops take Willie and Waldo away, And Waldo, you're going to be fine. They're going to let you off because you're mentally incompetent. But Willie, what's the charge here? Drugging? Is it like a Bill Cosby charge? Or like, what are we looking at here for Willie, Steve?
They're just going to put him in juvenile hall. It was kind of like, you remember that guy that had the study hall across the hall from the cafeteria?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they'll get sent for like a weekend.
Oh, it's like a Saturday school. Hell yeah. Yeah, because that's awful in a kid's world. Giving a Saturday up to go be in detention. I had to do that once. Your boy had to do that at least one time. But Willie's he's going to juvie, Steve. And Waldo, shame on you, but you're cool in my book. You brought the party to the party, so I respect that. And then we cut to back at the Winslows, and Harriet and Mama, they're wrapping up the plans for the vacay while Carl's out, and they're really excited because they want to just be like, "Hey, Carl, we took care of this." Carl walks, and I think they even say they're going to Lake Geneva, the place Carl wanted to go. But before they can do anything other than say, "Hey, Carl, we made a call on the vacay," Carl hears that. And I've been here before, Steve. You come in from a bad day of work and something just hits you wrong. So now it's time to scorch earth and just go in on whoever the fuck is in your crosshairs. So Carl's like, oh, that's nice. I mean, fuck me and my decision. I guess you guys are cool with that. So thanks for making the decision without asking me. But also, by the way, that's fucked up. And also another thing that's fucked up, I'm bringing in fucking all the money. So you old bitches are over here fucking making decisions that my bank account has to pay for. And I mean, this is a portion of what he says, Steve, but Carl, within a couple of minutes, has put his foot firmly into his mouth, down his throat, and it's coming out his ass. He's talking so much shit, Steve.
And before Harriet can even utter a word, she finally says, hey, we actually put in the reservations. Oh, the reservations? Okay. You making all these decisions without me, even though I'm the breadwinner in this motherfucker. Shit, I'm the one keeping the lights on, keeping the cable paid. Yeah, shit. A lot of our neighbors ain't even heard of internet, but we got the shit. But anyways, what you got to say, Harriet? Well, fool, we were just going to tell you we're going to Lake Geneva. Oh, well, shit.
Hey, so... and then the grandma's like, yeah, we decided to do it because we thought it'd be nice to give you a vacation that you want, because you're always so gracious about us getting what we want and about how much money you give towards this family and contribute. So,
Right.
So Carl is going to have a great vacation, Steve. God, what a nightmare. I'd be like, you know what? Each of you get your own vacation. I'm just going to stay home and cry because my life's over for a while. You're just going to have to eat shit for about a good solid 3 months.
If it was me, I was like, man, hey, let's just blow it all on the fucking gas station casino. But, you know, next day, they cut to the next day, and Urk, man, he's hungover. He's got the ice pack surrounded his head, Popeye style. But luckily, his next door neighbor, Carl Winslow, he has the recipe, the remedy for this malady. And he takes a sip, and instantly, immediately, Urkel is cured.
Oh, except it worked too good, Steve.
Yeah,
you got to get that poison out, and he's got to go take a couple of kids to the pool, if you know what I'm talking about. But I've been there.
The Browns to the Super Bowl.
But what an episode. We get a full tilt exposition to the whole Willie Waldo situation in this show. Willie gonna get butt fucked in juvie. Waldo will be back. Him and Eddie are gonna become good friends at some point. So that's something we can look forward to.
Because this is the last time we see Willie in this Home Alone, or not Home, Family Matters universe.
That's what I'm saying. He's in juvie now. He's got a guy with a hand tattoo putting his hand over his hand on the jail bars, and it's gonna get real fucking weird there. But Urkel got a little taste of the liquor, and he, you know, I'm saying right now, there's gonna be a couple ladies walking away from that party like, man, that guy, somebody give me Steve Urkel's number. That Asian chick that's behind you right now, she's loving it. She'd throw a fuck at Urkel.
You can see it in the eyes, Matt.
Yeah.
And one last time, we get another look at history in the making. It was so good they had to play it twice in the closing credits.
I mean, just get this guy on Dancing with the Stars, because the body control, it's pageantry. It's just magic.
But somebody who probably didn't watch this episode of the Urkel Dance in 1991, Matthew, is probably comedian Steve Martin, because in 1991, the LA Story premieres in theaters. With the help of a talking freeway billboard, a wacky weatherman tries to win the heart of an English newspaper reporter who is struggling to make sense of the strange world of early 1990s Los Angeles. Directed by Mick Jackson, starring Steve Martin, Victoria Tennant, Richard E. Grant, Mary Lou Henner, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kevin Pollak, Patrick Stewart, and Iman.
And I think John Lithgow's in it too, Steve, with hair.
With hair.
He's got hair in this shit. So I saw the preview. I remember the cover of this movie, or like seeing a preview for it, because it had Steve Martin in it, and obviously huge at the time. But you know, it seems like a movie about LA douchebaggery, and I've experienced the thing firsthand. So, you know, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but what'd you think of this?
It was okay. You know, I'd rather watch this than Queen's Logic. I don't know if that's saying a whole lot, but you know, Steve Martin, early 90s, you really couldn't go too wrong.
And like I said, John Lithgow with the hair too, with some really voluptuous hair pieces. So there's that.
There's also a cameo from Woody Harrelson.
Small
cameo.
Woody
Harrelson. He plays an agent. Yeah, very, very small. I think he's in 2 scenes.
Smoking any weed, Woody? Willie?
What we gonna do, Willie? But also in 1991, Sleeping with the Enemy premieres. A young woman fakes her own death in an attempt to escape her nightmarish marriage, but discovers that it is impossible to elude her controlling husband. Directed by Joseph Rubin, starring Julia Roberts, Patrick Bergen, Kevin Anderson, and Elizabeth Lawrence.
And this was Julia, you know, she was coming into her own here. My mom and dad, I remember seeing this movie with them at home. Yeah, it's just like a psycho ex, and I guess she basically, I don't know if she faked her death, I feel like, and she
faked her death.
She has like a new identity and meets the man of her dreams, Steve. But then it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah, he tracks her down, man. And this is something you couldn't get away with in the smartphone era that we're in, man. But yeah, she hops off of a boat and she like kind of disappears, gets the hell away from this dude because the beginning of this movie, they're fucking, they're fighting. He's taking it, she's accepting it, and repeat, rinse, recycle, repeat. And yeah, man, she gets away from dude, and I can't remember how he finds out, man. But I think I saw this old lady in a nursing home, and I believe it's his mom or her mom or grandma.
I just remember that her psycho ex looks like Jeff Galooly. To call back to a story from last week, it looks like a evil Robert Goulet, basically.
Well, his mustache did suggest, "Could you please step out of the car, sir?"
Yeah, or can you hop into this porno scene? Because he looks like John Holmes without the dick.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this was kind of like it had the vibe of like a Cape Fear. It's like a thriller. She's being chased. There's a guy psycho coming after her. And it's Julia Roberts, you know, so we love that. Roberts.
And I mean, it did in Home Alone's historic run. It's depending on your source, 11-week or 12-week, either way. You ran your course for 3 months on top. And it's the highest grossing since Aliens to have a lead actress. They had the highest opening numbers, man. So, well, I'm sure that's been eclipsed at this point, but at the time,
I mean, this was a box that I always saw because I don't know. I used to have a thing for Julia Roberts. She's very cute. So young Matt had a little thingy thing for that. Well, she's not a redhead, but whatever she is. What's up,
whatever
Julia?
she is. But that following year, 1992, Howard Stern is airing Super Bowl Girls, and I don't even know why they give their shows or episodes titles.
Yeah.
Just say Howard Stern.
I'm so mad we didn't have access to it. I think it was like an East Coast thing, but this is so spicy every time we watch it. It gets crazier and crazier, and it's like I didn't think that he could top the E show for something that you could actually show on TV. But I mean, good Lord, Steve.
Yeah. This eclipses it in like
every way.
This was before
the freakish horrors, the freaks. This episode of this encapsulates the Howard Stern that I know and love completely, because we get everybody. We get a fucking Jackie the Joke Man, fucking goddamn what's the girl's name? Robin's there. She's fucking rubbing people down. Howard's making fun of everybody under the sun, including the freak shows that he has to come and just talk to him, which I love. It's vintage Howard Stern. It's a Howard Stern who does not exist anymore. I've only seen clips of this guy's show now. It's not what I remember. But this, god damn it, it's fucking amazing.
Happened in the 90s. And I mean, we start this episode off, man. He's wrapped in towels, and him and his other disgusting built friends, even Ronnie the limo driver. Oh. I didn't even know they went back that far. But I mean, that's one of the things I love about Howard, man. Like some of the people we see on here have been like with dude ever since and never stopped.
I mean, Ronnie the limo driver is huge now. Like he was just kind of coming into just being shown like at all here, but I mean the guy's got a back like that guy from fucking the Nation of Domination with the whole chop meat, or what is it? No, not the Los Boricuas guy. I'm sorry, Nation of Domination. You know who I'm talking about though. It's gross. And basically Howard's got all these guys just in towels because what he wants to do is kind of show you how he parties for the Super Bowl and how he did party for the Super Bowl on his radio show, because at this time, you can't see what he's doing. We don't know what's going on in that studio other than what we hear. So now we get a look into a nice Howard Stern party, which, Steve, please, can we go? Can we take a time machine? Because this sounds like my kind of Super Bowl party. A greasy back rub by a gigantic breasted woman. I mean, that sounds nice. That's a nice pregame.
Yeah, only thing I don't like about that is this is a week after the Redskins won the Super Bowl. But you know, the first woman that comes out, her name is Teresa, and she's got a funny voice but a nice body. And you know, Jackie, like Howard thinks that is Jackie on his back. And is that Jackie eating a cherry on my back? Because
Yeah,
apparently
that's her
her
secret talent, Steve. She can eat cherries on you. On like she just eats cherries on you, Steve. It's not even seductive. It's just like fucking weird. The next the next girl up is Nicole, Steve. Very hot. We hope she's 18. Let's put it that way. Howard keeps asking her, "Are you sure you're 18? Because we're gonna go to jail otherwise."
Well, she did come down with her mom, so there's consent.
Eesh. And then Zarina
I'm just
shows
saying.
up, Steve. Zarina, and this woman has just insane breasts. I mean, to be completely clear, her talent is having gigantic H tits. I don't know what the size is. I'm not a
64.
librarian.
There's 64 double F's, bro.
Jesus. Good luck with the back now. This woman's bent over. She's got some kind of back injury now. If she was hoisting those things through the 90s. God.
And after her, it's a girl named Carmen. And Howard, he offers to like give away his wife to be with Carmen. Like that's whatever, man. But anyways, the final one is an Israeli girl. And they can't even pick apart what the hell she's saying. But she's hot. She's fine.
This is the one I'd want, Steve. She's been trained in the Israeli military, and she's probably got strong hands, and she's ready to go, Steve. She's stacked.
About as greasy as Jermaine Jackson. And, you know, like they calling this the celebrity rub down. And like they're doing it, and it's seductive. It's erotic. It's very up all nightish. And then all of a sudden, this B-level celebrity comes out named Brian Genesee. You know, he's the star of Street Justice. Very Mr. McClure.
I mean, he's there. He looks like he's Parker Lewis, and he can't lose because he's come out at the best time. And then he gives a little bit of an interview, but then Howard's like, you know what? I don't even know you, dude. Get down here. And Ronnie gets up. Brian unsheathes himself, gets on the ground, and now he's treated to a grease down back rub, Steve. I mean, if nothing else, Howard Stern is a great party host because you're in and you're getting a back rub within like 2 minutes. He didn't even know this guy's name.
Yeah, who the hell is this guy?
Fucking Brian, what? Brian Genesee, what? Or whatever. Fuck it. Hennessy?
Yeah,
Je ne sais quoi?
He looks like Harvey from the Teenage Witch. But like we cut to the next little interlude, man, and it's like a preview of him talking to his guests, basically. And now that's the next scene. Like they do their thing with Brian Genesee. He goes away, and now it's like an open forum for any of his fans in attendance. And there are some rules to talking to Howard, though. Do not look Howard in the eyes. Only refer to him as Mr. Stern. Do not have chewing gum in your mouth, and do not touch your genitals at any time.
Yeah, just don't screw around, Steve. To steal the quote from that guy in South Park, stop screwing around. Because Howard's here. I mean, this man's the king of all media, the savior of all media. He's got more nicknames than Jim Jones. And he is waiting for questions. They've got this whole, I mean, it's a freak show. They've bust in freaks from all across the country. There's a guy with a puppet that I see. There's guys with like some kind of fucked up makeup and like prosthetics on, but they're like dressed like bikers. You know, I don't know who these guys are, but there's a pool of freaks just drooling to talk to the king of all media.
He's planting seeds. He hasn't figured out like the whack pack idea fully yet. This is how I'm looking at it, man. And the first person that steps up, his name is Don Rocco. And what he wants to do is put a 4-inch spike into his face through his nose. It's very gross, especially for the first act. So he does that. He goes away. And then this other attractive woman comes up, and she's a spokesmodel, or I should say smokes model. Add that to the fucking
She's a smoke show, Steve.
A smoke show.
Wendy, Wendy, is
A smoke show.
Wendy is her name, and she is a spokesmodel. She should have come out here with some product, but before she gets to that, her talent is to eat lobster. And
Hard
when I
lobster.
say that, it's not go to Red Lobster and pull it out with a fork and put it in some butter. This bitch is just tearing into a lobster like she's eating an apple, shell and all, eating it, unable to swallow it. Now Howard's like, "What? Where'd you learn to do this?" And also, bitch, never mind that. Hold up this Snapple real quick, and then they work a Snapple ad in, which I do love that he got the Snapple endorsement, right, Steve? And I think every show we've watched, the way this endorsement happens is a freakish horror holds the Snapple up next to some gigantic T-Taz. And that's, I mean, genius level marketing, but I don't know what Snapple felt at the time, but I love it.
He knew what he was doing, man. I've been drinking on that Urkel punch. But anyways, man, our next contestant is Kurt, and he makes sound effects. And, you know, that's his skill. He makes fart noises with every joint in his body, from his underarms to the crease in his forearms to his arms, and even in his knees to his thighs.
He would have been rarely popular in like 6th grade, Steve, doing this. Because all I could ever muster was the pit fart. This guy's coming in with elbow farts, kneecap farts. I mean, it's coming out of everywhere except the ass. And I like Howard Stern. He's like, this man gave up a promising medical career to be here. So, you know, salute to Kurt. E-Cold, the fart machine.
He even has a special Oprah Winfrey fart.
Kurt gets and I feel like Kurt, he looks like a burnout. You know, he looks like somebody we'd probably hang out with in college. But
unfortunately,
after he leaves, then we get really what I think is probably the star of the show is Suzanne. And Suzanne, you know, you look at her and you say, this woman, she's got an underdog, weird costume, kind of weird. But I feel like Suzanne's on some kind of spectrum that we probably are more aware of now. And
possibly,
you know, Howard's all about spit it out, spit it out. So he's giving her a hard time. And he's like, what's going on? Underdog, what's that all about? But this woman is all business, Steve. She doesn't want any shenanigans. She wants you to take her very seriously because she's choreographed a dance in honor of the underdog character, sort of imbibing herself with the spirit of the underdog character, but not in a funny way, Steve. Do not make this about comedy because it's not funny, but it is.
This is a serious performance art, and it should be taken seriously. I didn't notice that when you were talking to the other contestants that you were making such corny jokes at them. And I represent Underdog, a cartoon that was made in 1964.
Howard's like, lock up my kids. But she gives this dance, crazy, just interpretive shit. I mean, you've seen crackheads do this on the streets. But she's got a cape. She's got the whole accoutrement. And I do like that we find out at some point that this woman actually will pay money to go do this dance anywhere. You can hire her to come. Yeah, but you're not going to pay her. But if she'll show up, she'll go fly to California and do this weird underdog shit. And she gets the business. And then Stuttering John comes in and he does like his impersonation of a Planet of the Apes character, and it's
Cornelius. He's dead on.
Steve.
He's spot on.
Shit.
It was better than the underdog shit. And you know, the next contestant is Black Elvis, and he's up there to play Love Me Tender. That's the second like black like Elvis reference in this episode. But anyways, Howard ain't got time for any of this shit. And I really found it funny when Jackie the Joke Man kind of just interrupts throughout the performance, like throwing out like hound dog howls.
Well, Howard doesn't like it either. He's like, Black Elvis, get out of here. Black Tony Bennett, show this guy what's up. So this other black guy with a wig and crooning I Left My Heart in San Francisco comes out, and he immediately gets an egg thrown on his head, Steve. I mean, it's brutal. But
yeah,
I gotta say, the Black Elvis guy, put this guy in 3,000 Miles to Graceland because he was doing pretty good, Steve. I respect it.
True, but black folks fuck with Tony Bennett, I feel, more than Elvis. Fuck Elvis. But at the same time, dude, isn't Black Tony Bennett the king of cartoons in the Pee Wee parody that they did? Or isn't that the same guy? I feel. But
I don't
anyways,
know.
yeah,
He might be, but he gets an egg in the face, and then we open. We offer a few minutes to Michael Lawrence, and Mike seems to have it all together. He works for a toy company, and he's trying to just pull a Shark Tank and get some advice on this new product that he has, which is a Jeffrey Dahmer like GI action figure. If you
action
know,
figures.
basically, it's a GI Joe, pretty good. Comes with a lot of like body parts and whatnot. And if you get that in Act Now, you can get the accessory that's his fridge that is also filled with random body parts. And you know, it didn't get the pop I would have thought. Howard just kind of dismisses it. But I got to say, this guy, he's coming in with some wacky ideas, and I like that. He's thinking outside the box, dude.
Howard says he has more talent stuck in his butt hair. And also, he has another company that makes Jerry's kids, Jerry Lewis, and the little public access program that used to happen back in the day, man. He even made action figures for that. So he gets a crack of the egg on the head. And now Suzanne, she's back because her act wasn't taken serious. And this is my life as an underdog. Like Howard is telling her to chill out. Like, you are too tense. Have a good time. But he relents and he gives her a second shot. And she does her little
Bitch don't even look like underdogs, Steve. Looks like a fake Wonder Woman. But she gets her 5 minutes, Steve. Howard lets her, but I do love that he's like, have a fucking good time. Shut up. Enjoy yourself. Because she didn't like specifically the Stuttering John Planet of the Apes thing. She felt very disrespected by that. But, you know, shut up, Suzanne. Chill out.
It has to be shown in a respectful manner, Matt. But I like how Howard's like, yeah, you performed this at schools? What school? Utah school? What?
And that's where they find out she'll go anywhere, but she has to pay for it, and she will. She's willing to. I don't know where she's getting this money, but Suzanne, the underdog bitch, you know, maybe you'll see her somewhere at a local elementary school. But next comes a guy who I'm sure maybe has a body in his closet, Bruce Lenny. Bruce Lenny comes out and he mumbles to himself, and I think this is a homeless guy Stuttering John found, but he's just like, I'm in heaven, shut up. He's in heaven. Shut up, Lenny Bruce.
Wait.
Bruce Lenny.
Bruce Lenny. Where's Lenny Bruce? He's dead.
There was
Where's
a guy who was in the Whack Pack. I think his name was Bigfoot, and it looked like this dude. It was just a crazy like street person, but this guy, I wouldn't have even let him in. He's gonna make a move on Howard or Robin or somebody, and you're gonna have a body on your hands.
Where's Lenny Bruce? Shut up. And then next is Chip. Chip will eat anything, and he was just like, Howard asked him, "Will you eat dog food?" Yeah, I did that in third grade. Yeah, well, whatever. He's like, how about this? This big tooth fucking production crew member, why don't you like eat his regurgitation? Hey, Gary, what we got? A Twinkie? Put a Twinkie in your mouth, Gary. And then, hey, Chip, eat what comes out of Gary's mouth. And this is probably the most grotesque thing in this whole show. And that kind of already says a lot.
Oh, I don't. This is something that you made the weird kid do in like first grade. Like you'd mix up like everything that you got in the cafeteria, and some kid would eat it. Chip never grew out of that, and his claim to fame is he ate Gary Delabate's disgusting Twinkie slime.
That's
Fuck you,
horrible.
Chip, you disgusting piece of shit. But after Chip, we get Michael Blakeman, who he's another import, Steve. He came all the way from Russia. This is a Rusky. Russian stand-up comedian. No jokes. He's got two what I think are dog carvings. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
I thought they were dinosaurs, and maybe it was a joke. I don't get Russian people. Like maybe their comedy is our drama and vice versa. But he does come on with two little like a hand-looking puppets. And Howard, he's already fed up from just the dude that was eating Gary's shit. And now this dude comes up and he's being slow, and he's just like, "Hey, can I take your hairpiece off first?" And then like, so he takes the George Jefferson shit off, and he was just like, "You know what? fuck this. I can't stand Russians. Their comedy, it sucks. You probably got hit upside the head with the steel curtain.
But he lets the guy eventually, because the guy's like, well, fuck me. He says something, and Howard's like, do it, do whatever. And all it is the guy going, you crazy, you crazy. And then he pulls a Snapple out. He gets a Snapple ad out of the guy, and he just goes, perfect. And that's it. I mean, I don't, like, what was this? Jeez, what happens in Russia that this is the comedy side? Well, I think we all know, but the fuck?
Yeah. He shot his own Snapple promo, man. And then, like, Howard was already fed up, but he lets this last guy come on, and he's on his acoustic guitar, and he's saying something about John Lennon and remember Lenny Bruce and always listen to Frank Zappa. And they go into commercial, and when they come back, it's basically like Underdog Girl in backstage, just like, I don't know, man. We can't get a gauge on her.
She's either been hit with some kind of heavy object as a child, or somebody's mom drank while they were pregnant, but something's wrong. She can't let the disrespect go, Steve. She still feels disrespected. Stuttering John is placating her, egging her on. He keeps trying to throw this whole Planet of the Apes shit at her. She's not feeling that, but he does let her just kind of dance the credits away. She even dances. They're trying to like take the set apart. She tries to climb up some steps that some union guys are trying to move into the back. And John even has a heart and is like, hey, I don't want you to get hurt, but come here, crazy bitch. That's it.
And believe it or not, Matt, she made a career out of this, man. There's actually a documentary on Suzanne, like My Life as an Underdog.
Wow. Well, I saw, remember that? Did you ever see that movie? There was a documentary called I Think We're Alone Now about the people obsessed with that Tiffany singer. If you haven't, check it out. There's a singer named Tiffany that's saying I Think We're Alone Now, and this documentary follows two mentally handicapped people that are like stalking her and like obsessed. And I think that's what this lady is. She's just one of those people who focuses in on one thing. It's Underdog, and that's her fucking thing, Steve. And salute to her. She got a documentary. And a lot of these freak show people Howard had on his show actually made some good ass fucking money being freaks, you know, like at least they got that. I get, you know, she joined the likes of Hank the Angry Drunken Dwarf and Beetlejuice in weird notoriety for being a weirdo.
I don't know if that's how she started, though, honestly, man. Like, I think she might have been known before that, man, because I saw her IMDb, and she has this documentary, and she was on some other shows where this was her thing. It was like her Tiny Tim. That was her shtick.
Wow. Well, there you go. I guess if you just dedicate yourself to anything, Steve, it could happen. It's angels in the outfield.
With that being said, please like, share, subscribe. But in 1994, Saved by the Bell College Years airs their series finale, and it's a two-parter, Marry Me / Wedding Plans. Damn it, we missed our opportunity, Matt.
Well, you know, we have some hurt feelings because of a Miss Kelly Kapowski just continually breaking Zach's heart. I'm sure it happened in the college years. I wasn't really clocking into this at this point, but I do remember a few episodes. It was cool to see Slater and Zach, you know, chop it up in college. Their RA was a former NFL football player. Not really sure why they hired a gigantic middle-aged man to be an RA, but you know, I guess you got to do what you got to do. Fuck it. What was his real name? Was it a Golick?
Bob Golick?
Yeah, hell yeah. Bobby Golick. Brother of Mike Golick. Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, man. And you know, I think it was partially Kelly Kapowski being trash, but also the series sucked. You know, the 90s, or at least around this time, there was a lot of new additions and new series built off of the original franchise that we did like. This is basically new Saved by the Bell. And around this time, we had New Heart Foundation. And also we had all of these new Power Rangers, Alpha, Omega, Sci-Fi. Like, Come on, man.
Off-brand shit.
Off-brand shit. This is very GoBots of you Saved by the Bell. It's basically like, hey, we're not going to be in the high school hallway as much. We'll be in college dorms.
Great. You already look middle-aged. Now you are, and you're hanging out with Bob Golick. That's crazy. But you know what? They got they got paid, Steve. So what
Very
more
corny.
do you want? And you know what I didn't like? The Kelly Kapowski, right? And I feel like all the ladies were in this. Well, Jessie was in this, right?
No, she there were replacements. That was the thing.
Ah,
it was still
you're right. You're right.
3 girls on one side, 3 guys on the other side. Like they still had the guys there, and they try to replicate that. That's what I'm saying. They like with the new shit, they always try to replicate that formula, but it's like, no, that worked for a valid reason because of those people.
Also, we had moved on because we were a little older to a more adult, maybe a Pamela Anderson, maybe a Jenny McCarthy.
Exactly.
We'd moved on to bigger and better titties. Talent. And so this just wasn't for us. But shout out to Bob Golick. Rest in peace, I believe. I don't think he's with us anymore. Or maybe he is. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But shout out. Because he was the thing I remember liking about this. Because he was just kind of like a gigantic, like, spazzy dude in this show. A little bit of comedy mixed in.
With the mullet. But in 1998, the 48th NBA All-Star Game is held in Madison Square Garden in New York. East beat the West 135-114. And the MVP, you already know, Michael Jordan from the Chicago Bulls.
You know, people used to care about All-Star games, Steve. Remember that?
That was a thing.
The fucking dunk contest. I used to have this tape, Steve, that chronicled Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins going toe-to-toe against each other in those competitions. And then also being superseded by a small Spud Webb one year as well. And this might have been in the 80s. But
this was in the 80s, yeah.
This is only to say that we used to get legit stars doing crazy, like the dunk contest. And for whatever reason, we cared about the All-Star game. I guess it was just seeing the stars all in one place. But now it's just not that. I'm not as into basketball, but I don't think it's as much of a thing.
It's kind of like wrestling, man. I think the internet killed that because the separation is what made these kind of spectacles amazing, man. Like you didn't see Alonzo Mourning like powwowing with Shaquille O'Neal. Now you can just log on to Instagram and see that shit. Like, oh yeah, of course they're gonna be each other's teammates and get along. Like, yeah, they're going to each other's barbecues. But yeah, man, shout out to MJ. You're still my goat. But any callbacks, honorable mentions, or dingleberries in the woods?
Well, I had a call out, and I'm realizing that it was, for me, it was a 90s thing, but I think it actually occurred in the 80s, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Do you remember a cartoon called Dino Riders?
Hell no.
Okay, so I saw this, and I found a tape, and I found this collection of shit that I have that my mom gave me. I keep finding these treasure troves of shit. I found this tape, and I was like, Dino Riders, what the fuck was it? And basically what it was a cartoon, and it was in some kind of weird, like maybe future past where there was technology, there was lasers, and they would put like this armor with like guns and lasers on like a T-Rex and get into these battles. Look it up. I think it happened in the 80s. I'm trying to look it up. I'm looking, and I think it happened, at least came out in 1988. But this was something I watched in the 90s. And the toys, Steve, I'll put some pictures up. The Dino Riders toys, you're sleeping if you don't remember these things because they were fucking tits.
Better than Transformers? How like
I'm telling you, they had this cartoony design with the dinosaurs, and then you would put like these snap-onable armor things that it was already cool. We like Jurassic Park. That was just a dinosaur toy. Now imagine that toy, and then you throw this fucking thing with a Gatling gun that an alien can sit and fucking mount up on, and that's all I'm saying. Check out Dino Riders. To the uninitiated, you're gonna love it. And what about you, Steve?
Man, wedding bells are in the air for some reason around this time because in 1990, Cheers is airing Woody or Won't He? And you know, you're not familiar with the show like that, but he's engaged to a lady around this time. and this is his first time making a first impression on her mom. So that's a thing. She ends up like coming on to him and flirting with him. And yeah, that I think leads into the next episode. But in 1991, Full House, it's the same deal. Uncle Jesse, he like runs his future father-in-law off the road in his motorcycle. And by the time the father gets to the Tanner home, he's like, oh, some asshole just fucking trying to run me off the road. And then in comes Jesse, and then that's their first time meeting each other right before he marries Aunt Becky. And then in 1992, I just thought this was interesting. It's called Menage a Luke. Growing Pains airs that episode, and it has Hilary Swank. You already got Leo, and now Hilary Swank, she makes a cameo appearance. But yeah,
Menage? Why does it say Menage in the title? Young Hillary's in there fucking busting off a three-way, Steve? What the fuck?
Well, Ben is around the same age as Luke, and there's this nerdy girl that asks Ben out for Sadie Hawkins. He's not paying her no mind. But Luke, he's being cool. He's like, hey, I'll do your whole work with you, blah, blah, blah. So now she's throwing some game at Luke. And so now Luke, he's looking at Hilary Swank's character. She's like, man, you whack as fuck. I'm looking at Luke too, probably. And so he feels that rejection, and he's like, well, shit, man, let me go back to the other girl. She already fucking with Luke. So that becomes a thing between Ben and Luke, and now that's why it's called Menage a Luke.
Okay.
Yeah. But you live and you learn. You got Hillary and Leo, man. You should be thankful, Ben. And that's the closest to star power you'll ever get again. But please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please tell your sister to do it. Do it. Everybody do the Urkel dance. That was more like Bobby Brown. But check out our guy Clark the Shark at Podcastle, man. We just did an interview with him last week, man, and we had a good time. We got to have him back on. Check out our other affiliate shows, Crushgasm with Kendra every Wednesdays, and Food Show Fanatics. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happen in the 90s.
Do the Urkel.
Oh my damn.